So next on to another Mike, Mike Follett this time, who is the MD of Lumen. Mike is going to be talking about the 3 shapes of marketing and attention, why people are making wrong-shaped ads, and how to go about fixing that. So Mike, over to you.
Hi everyone, your second mic of the morning. Nice to see everyone. My name is Mike Follett. I'm the Managing Director of Lumen. We're a attention technology company. So what we do is we've developed a technology that turns this camera here, or importantly this camera here, into an eye tracking camera. And that's really important because it allows you to understand the reality of attention to people, what people actually look at when they're online. Or when they're watching TV, for instance, and that's what we're going to be talking about again today as well. But the reality of attention rather than what people say they do. Because understanding that just because something is viewable does not mean that it is viewed. There are loads and loads of things that people could see that they are very good at ignoring. And advertising is one of the things that people are very good at ignoring. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the difference between things that are viewable and then the things that are viewed. And then really importantly, how long things are viewed for, the sort of average dwell time of that. Using our technology for the last couple of years, we've been assessing the differences between media. And it's quite interesting because you see, when it comes to desktop advertising, around about 50% of your ads could be seen because they don't load in time, or you've moved past them pretty quickly. Of the stuff that's viewable, only 18% of it gets looked at. And then on average, this stuff gets looked at for about 1.6 seconds. With mobile, viewability rates are much lower because people are scrolling so frantically fast. But if your ad is viewable, it's on the screen 100% of the pixels for a second or more, or 2 seconds, or whatever it is, then it's very hard to miss. You will look at it. It's just that happens so rarely. When people do have the ad on their screen, though, and it is viewable, they might look at it, but they'll look at it for about 1.4 seconds. You can compare this to print advertising. When you read a paper like this, you might not get through the whole paper. Around about 65% of print ads that you pick up in the paper actually are viewable according to this sort of standard. But again, if you open the page, then bosh, the ad is there and it's hard to miss. And actually, because the ad is there for a long time, because you're reading the article around it, the viewable time for press ads is much, much greater than it is for desktop and mobile. And therefore, the dwell time with these ads is much, much greater. Ironically, press ads, which are often the simplest and easiest to consume, get the longest dwell times when you're there. So it's quite a useful thing for understanding the differences between media. What are you actually getting from it? And it's as a result of this that we've had a look at perhaps there are 3 sort of shapes of attention. And I think this is really, really important for marketers to understand. Because when we look at the data that we've done from hundreds of tests all around the world, there seem to be 3 sort of buckets of attention. The first bucket is website visits. Here's just the sort of average dwell time of people actually looking at websites. It's about a minute. And if you're on the screen, then you're actually looking at the stuff that's right in front of you. You can't miss it. Now, this sort of website visit, assuming like a 1-minute visit, it's very, very much like what you might call the old CRM and leaflet stuff. People are actually voluntarily engaged there, and they're spending a long time looking at stuff. However, you can compare this to a second shape of attention, which is a bit more like TV. Now, TV, strange enough, is like TV. On average, a 30-second TV ad might get you about 13.8 seconds of actual attention. And that equates to what's happening with YouTube as well. And that's a second sort of shape of attention. And the third shape of attention is everything else. Everything else that you can buy out there gets you between 1 and 2 or 3 seconds of attention. This is much closer to being like a poster. So you have these 3 shapes of attention. You have stuff that's like DM, stuff that's like TV, and everything else, including everything that the Facebook company sells, is like a poster. Now, this means, of course, that the actual dwell time that you have with these things, you have very long dwell times with your website. fairly long dwell times with TV, and absolutely very short dwell times with everything else. However, you very rarely go to a website. There's a few occasions that you actually go there. You sometimes see TV ads, and you are bombarded with posters and the like. And this means that there are some quite big important big important implications for advertisers. Your website gets you tons of attention and is the place to put information. That's where you can educate people because they are spending enough time with you. The implication, of course, is that if you're educating, this is the place to educate people. Other environments are not good for educating people. YouTube and the like is much closer to TV. There you're getting about 5 to 15 seconds of attention, which is enough time to tell a bit of a story, but probably not enough time to frantically educate people about the wonders of your offer. And then lastly, Facebook. Facebook, whatever people say, is much more like a poster than anything else. You're getting 1 to 2 seconds of attention there. And so that's really a salience place. So you should try and treat these media in different ways. Don't try to put tons of information in your YouTube ads. Don't try and tell astonishing stories in your Facebook ads. You should think of Facebook like posters, YouTube like TV, and your website like a leaflet. So, Paul, thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Mike. Always great to see you, and another great presentation. Appreciate it.